My name is Mary Jane Hurst, and I'm a professor of English. I've been at Texas Tech since 1986. Well, I love teaching. I love introducing people to new things. Before I came to Texas Tech, before I started on my graduate degree, I was a teacher in high school, and I particularly liked teaching ninth grade Latin. I loved teaching something new to people, and linguistics is new to people, so I'm a linguistics professor. Most people have never studied linguistics before. They've never heard of it. They don't even know what it is. So I love teaching that, and I love introducing people to new things. Um, in terms of why I came to Texas Tech, I was a graduate student at the University of Maryland, and I completed my dissertation in 1986 and went on the job market in probably what was one of the worst job markets ever. There were hundreds of applications for every job opening that year. So Texas Tech had a job opening in linguistics and in literature, and I interviewed and seemed like a good fit for me. In particular, it was a good move for my family because my husband was on the job market that year as well. He's a pediatric neurologist and was looking for a place in an academic medical center. So he's at the Health Sciences Center, and I've been at Texas Tech all these years. I think an early memory that I would recall is my very first semester of teaching. It was a whirlwind experience, and I put everything I had into it. I worked night and day, really, because new professors not only have to teach, they have to keep their publications up and work on their research and write their books and their articles and go to conferences and network and just all kinds of things happening all at once. So it was a very busy semester. And I loved what I was doing, but I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing or not. And at the end of the semester, I remember in particular, it was a snowy day. It was the last day of the semester, and we were having a faculty party. And I had turned in my materials and just gotten my student evaluations back. And the evaluations were glowing. The students were so excited about what they had learned that semester, about their experience in my class. And it was such a great feeling. I remember that feeling of I think this is the right place for me. I think I'm doing the right thing. I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing and try to do it as well as I can. Well, some students have had a bad experience with English in their high school years or junior high school years, maybe because their writing has been criticized, or their speaking has been criticized, or their interpretive skills. Maybe they've been made to feel are not quite competitive with everyone else's. But I'd encourage people to take an English class because they'll find all kinds of new things to learn and new ways to express themselves and new opportunities to think and to write and to read. So it's a great experience to take an English class. It's a great opportunity, really. In fact, for many students, this may be their last opportunity to read in a group setting. There are certainly book clubs, and people can engage in that sort of thing as they go out into the world in their professions. But there's a certain joy in being in a classroom and talking about a literary text or talking about a language issue. You may never have that experience again. So I'd encourage people to take at least more than the required English classes. And then if you take a few more, you might like a few more than that, and you might end up as an English minor or an English major. Well, I have students all the time who tell me later on that they remember something about my class, or they'll write to me. I have a student who was in my class a long time ago who sends me Christmas cards, and she named one of her daughters after my daughter. So I hear from students a lot from the past, but I do have one particular memory. My husband and I were at dinner once, and it was near the Health Sciences Center. I think he was on call that night because he was still wearing his white coat. We were just eating in a little coffee shop near the hospital, and I heard somebody say, "Dr. Hurst, Dr. Hurst, Dr. Hurst," and I thought maybe it was an intern or medical student calling for him. So I didn't even look up. But then the student wasn't interested in him; they were looking at me, and so I said, "Hi," and he said, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "I'm not sure." And he said, "Do you remember that paper I wrote in your class? That sophomore lit paper I wrote for you like 10 years ago?" I thought, no, I grade a lot of papers. I read a lot of student papers. I don't really remember your paper. I'm sorry. But then he proceeded to tell me how meaningful that was to write that paper in a sophomore literature class. And it was great. It was an expression of how meaningful it can be to study English. And it was a reinforcement of the value of teaching and the value of the educational experience at Texas Tech. We have many English students who fondly remember their experiences at Texas Tech. So I hope they will reflect on what they learned, and even if they're not using it directly in their professional lives, that they will remember the kinds of abilities they developed in critical thinking, in good writing, in expressing their ideas, and just in the love of literature and the love of learning and a curiosity about life. Texas Tech is one of the few public universities in the state of Texas to shelter a chapter of Phi Beta Kappa. And I was honored to be able to work on that for many years. I was the director of the programs that enabled Texas Tech to shelter a chapter of Phi Beta Kappa. And only about 10% of the universities across the United States are able to shelter chapters of this organization. And it's an honorary that goes back to 1776. It was founded at the College of William and Mary, December 5th, 1776. So at the height of the Revolution, there was this concept of a need for civil discourse, for intellectual development, for friendship in the study of literature and language and history and politics and everything else. And so these students at the College of William and Mary founded Phi Beta Kappa in 1776. And since then, chapters have been formed at universities around the country. So because Texas Tech is a Phi Beta Kappa school, that means it offers a quality of education found only in the top 10% of schools in the United States. So this is something that's very special about Texas Tech, that it does offer a verifiably excellent education. So that's important, I think, particularly for the humanities and particularly for the College of Arts and Sciences. But it's something for prospective students to take a look at, to think about, and it's something for alumni to think back on with pride. Well, I have been here for a very long time, and I've had many different kinds of experiences at Texas Tech. I have been a dean. I was associate dean for arts and sciences for about 6 years. I was the assistant to the president for 3 years and worked in the president's office. And at each one of those points, I got to learn so many things about the university and the wonderful opportunities that are here for students and for faculty and for staff. And it's a remarkable place. It's a unique place, really. I'm also an American Council on Education Fellow. And as part of that program, I have visited colleges and universities around the country. And there's really no place else like Texas Tech. It's a unique place. Architecturally, intellectually, socially, Texas Tech is a brand in and of itself. It's a place that people recognize. People know about Texas Tech. So, for example, with my work in the president's office, I started the Presidential Lecture and Performance Series, and that goes on today. It hosts. I don't direct it anymore, but it hosts 3, 4, 5 world-class artists, speakers, musicians, dancers, different kinds of programs that come to Texas Tech. And not only do they interact with the students and enrich the classes here, but they also go out into the community. So, for example, in our very first program, we brought the Taylor 2 dancers to Lubbock. And if you go to New York City and you want to see dance, you might see the Taylor dancers, and you might pay $200, $300, $400, $500 for a ticket. But at Texas Tech, we offer those for a very small price, maybe, I don't remember now, $5 or $10, and free to students. You wouldn't have an opportunity to do that anywhere else for such a beautiful and remarkable dancers as they were. But not only did they put on a performance, but they also worked with our students here at Texas Tech in the dance program for about a week. And then they also went to the public schools in Lubbock, and they went to some of the community centers. So we made an effort to take them into schools and places where students wouldn't have otherwise had the opportunity to experience dance of that quality or that caliber. So the Presidential Lecture and Performance Series is just one example of the opportunities that exist at Texas Tech that students might not take advantage of. You ask about what I would recommend to students or what I would recommend to prospective students, and that is to take advantage of all the opportunities that there are on a campus. And I'm thinking particularly of academic experiences, to really take time to reflect on classes, to think about what you've read, to write about what you've learned in class, to take advantage of your college years to the fullest extent intellectually, but also socially and in other ways as well, to enjoy the football games and the musical programs and the theater programs and the student activities and organizations, because the college years go by really quickly. Right now I'm teaching online, so many of the students that I teach online work full-time. They have full-time jobs. They also have families, and maybe they're taking a class or two as well. So they're very limited in their time, and sometimes it's difficult for them to take advantage of all that the university has to offer. But because the experience goes by quickly and doesn't last forever, I do think students are well advised to experience as much as they can as they go through their college years. Another thing about Texas Tech is our graduate programs. So we haven't talked about that yet, and that's another part of what makes Texas Tech unique. In English, for example, we focus on our undergraduate students to a great extent. We have a wonderful undergraduate program for English majors and minors. We have minors in film, in linguistics, in comparative literature, in a variety of disciplines. And we have lots of different kinds of studies in English as well. Technical communication, creative writing, literature, linguistics, all kinds of different classes that people might not realize that are offered in an English department. But we also have very strong graduate programs. And so in the English department, we have a very thriving master's degree program and doctoral programs in several different fields, in creative writing, in technical communication, in literature, and so on. So we have some great programs. I just had a dissertation student who finished this past August, and she's now on the faculty at the University of Oklahoma. So we place our students into faculty positions and professional positions. There are endless opportunities for students at Texas Tech. Opportunities in study abroad, in internships, in extracurricular activities, in academics in a wide range of fields. There's an honors college. There are graduate programs. We're a unique campus in having the law school and the entire Health Sciences Center, not just a medical school, but nursing programs and occupational therapy programs. And Texas Tech offers in one location so many opportunities for students. So it's an embarrassment of riches in some ways. There's so many things for students to do, to learn, to experience. Another thing I'd say about Texas Tech is we have very strong online programs in English. And our technical communication programs have received accolades across the country and the world. We have students enroll around the world in our technical communication graduate programs in English. But we also have online offerings in language and literature, and even in creative writing. So I think this is a unique mission for a big state university like Texas Tech to go into this area of education. It's complex, it's complicated. There are many technical issues that need to be addressed before a person can teach effectively online. But I've had the opportunity to develop online classes over the last, I think, 5 or 6 years now. And I take it to be almost a mission to take what we offer here at Texas Tech and make it available to people who are not able to be on campus. For example, in my classes this semester, I have students who are in Houston with small children who live in a rural part of the country, of the state, and work with their family on a family farm. I have another student who is in a Dallas suburb and works all day and cannot find the kinds of classes he needs to complete his degree offered at the times he wants them. So our online programs allow students to have part of the educational experience that they would otherwise not be able to have. And I think that's a very important part of our future and current offerings in the English department. I think I and other faculty members know that our alumni often think back with fondness about their years as an English major or an English minor at Texas Tech. And we appreciate that. And we want our students to cultivate their intellectual curiosity, to develop their skills in thinking and reading and writing, even as they go off into their professional lives. And we hope that our students will remember us and come back and visit us, and that they'll also think about how they can contribute to Texas Tech and contribute back to the institution that has helped them develop in their personal and professional lives. For example, we have lots of students who benefit from our scholarships. We have a number of scholarships in the English department that already exist. We can certainly develop new scholarships as well, but they do benefit students in very tangible ways. We have both graduate and undergraduate students in all areas of English who do need financial support. We also have faculty endeavors that can use support from alumni. For example, we have faculty who want to develop new courses, who need to take some time off from teaching to develop a new class or to do some research. Our faculty are publishing faculty. We are on the cutting edge of research in a number of subdivisions and subfields of English. So research travel to libraries, to travel to collections. Those are ways that alumni could assist the English department at Texas Tech. In the English department, we often talk about our new building. Well, our new building is now about 15 years old, but we do have a relatively new building on campus. So for our alumni who were students in the 80s or 70s or 60s or even before, they may remember our former building, but we have a beautiful new building on campus, and we're very proud of the technology that we have in that building, and we'd invite our alumni to come back and visit us. Well, I appreciate my years at Texas Tech, and I appreciate what I've been able to do in terms of research and teaching here, and I hope that my students have benefited from that as well.